I'm Cheryl, 68. This morning, I woke up in my husband's arms, in the bedroom that we've made ours, in the house that's become a true home. Sunlight was streaming through the windows overlooking the gardens we tend together, and the aroma of the coffee he brews every morning wafted through the air. At this age, I've never been happier. It's not about his wealth, his grand house, or his success. It's because he truly sees me and chooses to love me for who I am. But it wasn't always like this. 8 months ago, my life was turned upside down. My son, Ethan, had been calling me regularly after I got married to my high school sweetheart, Ryan. At first, I was hopeful that our relationship was finally mending. He'd ask about my well-being, how I was adjusting to married life. But I soon realized that his real interests lay elsewhere. One evening, while Ryan was at a business dinner, Ethan called. His voice was tight with what seemed like forced concern. "Mom, I need to ask you something, and I hope you won't be offended." My stomach clenched. I knew what was coming. "Have you and Ryan discussed what happens to his assets in the future?" I was stunned. This was the question he'd been building up to for months. I remembered how, just a year ago, my world had been shattered by a tornado. I was living in a small townhouse in a quiet neighborhood. I'd raised Ethan there, and it was filled with 40 years of memories. I was a widow, having lost my dear husband, Carl, 5 years ago. I'd always been a hard, working woman, and after Carl's passing, I'd taken on odd jobs to make ends meet. The day the tornado hit was like any other ordinary Tuesday. I was in the kitchen, preparing a simple lunch, when the tornado sirens started wailing. I quickly grabbed my emergency kit and some important documents, but there was so little time. I rushed to the basement and huddled in the corner, listening to the terrifying sounds above. When the silence finally came, I knew my life as I knew it was over. The neighbors, kind as they were, couldn't offer me long-term shelter. Their own homes were damaged, and they had their own families to take care of. So I called Ethan. He lived about an hour away in a posh neighborhood in the city. He'd become a regional manager at an insurance firm after graduating from college. He'd always been ambitious, but our relationship had grown distant over the years. When I told him about the tornado and that I needed a place to stay, he initially said yes. But when I arrived at his house, his girlfriend, Lily, was there. She was a 30-year-old marketing executive, very opinionated and focused on their privacy. They sat me down and told me that they valued their space and that I'd be more comfortable elsewhere. Ethan even offered me a few $100s to get me started at an extended stay place near the mall. I was heartbroken. I'd raised him, sacrificed so much for him, and now he was turning me away. I was left with nowhere to go. I drove to a Walmart parking lot and sat there as the sun went down, feeling utterly alone. That's when I remembered Ryan. We'd been high school sweethearts. He was the son of a mechanic, and he'd always dreamed big. He promised me that he'd come back for me after college, but life got in the way. I'd kept his business card in my wallet for 45 years, a silent reminder of a love that once was. After 3 nights of sleeping in my car, I finally found the courage to call him. I was hesitant, thinking he might not even remember me, or that he'd think I was a burden. But when he answered the phone and I heard his voice, it was like a piece of my soul clicked back into place. He didn't hesitate for a moment. He told me to give him my location and that he was coming to get me. When he arrived at the McDonald's parking lot where I was a mess. I hadn't washed my hair in days, and my clothes were wrinkled from sleeping in them. But he looked at me and said, "You look beautiful." Those 3 words broke the dam of emotions I'd been holding back for so long. I sobbed uncontrollably in his arms. He took me to his home, a magnificent estate in an upscale neighborhood. It was a place filled with books, comfortable furniture, and a warmth that I'd never felt in a long time. He cooked for me, and we talked about our lives. I told him about Carl, about Ethan, and about the loss of my home. He listened intently, and then he said, "I never stopped loving you. Every success I achieved was so that I could be worthy of you when you came back to me." Our relationship blossomed. We got married 6 months after that fateful phone call in the parking lot. We had a simple ceremony in his back garden, surrounded by only a few close friends. Ethan came to the wedding. I debated whether to invite him, but Ryan convinced me to give him one more chance. He showed up alone, looking uncomfortable in an expensive suit. I could see the calculation in his eyes as he sized up Ryan's wealth. After the wedding, Ethan's true motives became clear. He was constantly trying to find ways to get involved with Ryan's business. Ryan saw through his game, but was too polite to confront him directly. But then, Ryan decided it was time to set things straight. He invited Ethan and Lily to the house for dinner. That evening, I saw a side of Ryan I'd never witnessed before. He was polite but firm. He told them that I didn't need their approval for our marriage or their so-called protection. He said that what I needed was for them to love me unconditionally, the way I'd loved Ethan my entire life. Ethan was embarrassed and angry, but there was nothing he could say. After they left, Ryan asked me if he'd been too harsh. I told him no. It was the first time someone had told Ethan the truth about his behavior. Now, Ethan's calls are different. They're shorter, more genuine. He asks about my hobbies, like my gardening and my book club. Lily has stopped sending those expensive gifts. I don't know if we'll ever have the close mother-son relationship I once dreamed of, but at 68, the honesty we have now is enough. The tornado took my old life, but it also led me back to the love of my life. Sometimes destruction is just a new beginning. And I'm so grateful that first love got a second chance to become forever love. So, I'm curious about you. What would you do if you were in my place? Have you ever been through something similar?
Comment below.
And meanwhile, I'm leaving on the final screen 2 other stories that are channel favorites, and they will definitely surprise you. Thank you for watching until here.